What's up, guys? It's your guy Tyler, back with another Super Squad D video, and gotta come clean. I have never seen an episode of G.I. Joe. Well, that's what I would have said as of about 3 weeks ago. You've never seen an episode of G.I. Joe? Yeah, that's what I literally just said. I am G.I. Joe. I'm Clayface. Clayface? Dude, these sketches are getting weirder and weirder. G.I. Joe! Real American hero! Get out of here! Get out of here! Anyway, guys, where was I? G.I. Joe, and I never seen it as of 3 weeks ago. So, let me tell you how it all started. Oh, wait, before I do, I wanted to point out that this Firefly here, I managed to find one extra. So hang around till the end of the video. I'm gonna tell you guys about how you can enter into a giveaway to get one of these bad boys for free. So about three and a half weeks ago, I was walking through Walmart and I looked down and I saw this action figure. Snake Eyes! Snake Eyes White Dragon. No, that's not.
The legendary Blue Eyes White Dragon!
And I looked down and he just looked super cool. And I was like, never really was into G.I. Joe as a kid. I never watched the show. I've never even really seen the live action movies. Well, I do love ninjas. So I'll pick him up. Because I kind of had a cursory understanding of who Snake Eyes was. Let me tell you, I had no flipping clue what I was getting into. Because that led to this being one of the best figures I've picked up in so long. I just had so much fun with it, taking pictures, playing with it, posing it, that I was like, man, I gotta get more G.I. Joe figures. And then I thought, who do I need from G.I. Joe? That led me down a really interesting, fun, and crazy path. And that was, I set out to experience G.I. Joe in almost every way I could over the last 3 weeks. So I wanna break down my experiences in a few major areas. 1, I read the IDW comic. 2, I played the most recent G.I. Joe game, G.I. Joe Blackout. 3, I watched a bunch of the original G.I. Joe series and a little bit of the films. And 4, of course, the action figures. So I kind of want to break down each one of those areas, talk about my experiences and what it was like being in my 30s and experiencing G.I. Joe for the first time. So let's talk about the IDW comic. The comic is so good. So at first, I was kind of making fun of it and mocking it. It's written by a guy named Chuck Dixon. It was written in like the late 2000s, and the writing is just really funny because in the first few issues, I guess they're trying to introduce all the different characters, but it seriously seemed like every character was saying every other character's code name all the times. Yo, Snake Eyes, what's up? Snake Eyes wouldn't respond. Yo, Roadblock. Hey, Duke. What's up, Roadblock? Not much, Duke. Scarlet, what's up? Hey, not much, Duke. Not much, Roadblock. Oh no, here comes Storm Shadow. Storm Shadow, we're gonna get you. We will get you, Duke. And they shouted their code names over and over again. I was like, oh my gosh, this is hilarious and laughable. After the first few issues, it really started to pick up. And what was interesting is, and I'll talk about this when I talk about the animated series, it really lays the groundwork and introduces all these important characters who were big in the series before their spot and like what happened what happened in the animated series, because the comic lays the origins for a lot of these characters that I had no clue were origin stories because I was just experiencing G.I. Joe for the first time, and this was my first real introduction. The comic really picked up a lot and it was super fun and super interesting. I've only read the first 20 or 30 issues or so, but I can't wait to go back and read more. I love that they introduced characters like Destro and Snake Eyes, and it's just an interesting plot concept that at the very beginning of the comic, the Joes don't even know or believe that Cobra is a real organization. So it really starts at the very beginning and works its way up in the G.I. Joe mythos. What's really cool is there's like 7 or 8 hardcover volumes of this book out, and there's a lot of other spin-off titles as well, so I got a lot of reading ahead of me, and I can't wait to keep going with it. My review for the G.I. Joe comic, I give it like an 8 out of 10. If you're interested in G.I. Joe or you like G.I. Joe, you're probably gonna love it. It's gonna be amazing to you. If you don't know anything about the G.I. Joe series or franchise, I'd say give it a try. The first arc was pretty slow, as I mentioned before, with the hilarious dialogue and the slow build-up, but really around issues 9 and 10, it way picked up. If you want to find a G.I. Joe reading order, you can Google it, and there are different people who've done reading orders for G.I. Joe comic as well that's really helpful. So let's talk about the animated series. And I'm specifically talking about the animated series that came out in the 80s. So you might be wondering, how the heck was I born in the 80s and yet did not watch any G.I. Joe? I really don't know. It's so weird. I was huge into Turtles and Power Rangers as a kid. And of course I love Batman the Animated Series, Spider-Man the Animated Series, X-Men the Animated Series. But somehow G.I. Joe, I don't know if it was just a little before my time or if I just didn't have any friends who were into it, but for whatever reason, I never really had anybody introduce me to G.I. Joe, and I just never saw it. And by the time I got old enough, I was out of action figure collecting, so I never had any of the toys as a kid, and I really just never even thought about it. And it wasn't until I picked up the Snake Eyes that I had any desire to go check it out. The first thing that people pointed me to was actually a movie called G.I. Joe Resolute, and
dude, it was nuts.
It's so good. I found it online. You can watch it for free on like Vimeo or something randomly like that. But it was a great movie. It was just action nonstop from start to finish. I think it was only 50 minutes. It was so cool. There's an amazing Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow fight sequence. The plot was really good and interesting. I recognized a lot of the Joes because I'd already read the IDW comic, and it was really good. I highly recommend going and checking that film out. Then I went back and wanted to start watching some of the old 80s cartoon. And what I discovered was Hasbro, who owns the rights to G.I. Joe, have been playing just 24/7 on their YouTube channel old G.I. Joe episodes. I was like, this is great. What a great time to get into the show. I've watched a handful of episodes, not even in order, which I'm sure is not the right and best way to do it, but I was shocked about a few things in the show. First of all, I had no clue that people actually had superpowers in the G.I. Joe world, like telekinesis or pyrokinesis or things like that. Second, I had no clue that the show was going to be as like serious and sometimes weirdly dark as it was. Like there were like alternate universes and gang violence, and there's this one episode where Shipwreck gets brainwashed, loses memory, and they make him think that he has a whole family who's actually this like synthoid goop that takes on human form but also creates human memories. And so like he thinks he's got a wife and a daughter for like 5 years, and then
that's how it feels, Mara. How come I don't remember this house, the kid? I don't even remember our wedding.
He discovers that they're not real and they end up dying, and it's like this huge tragic thing, but at the end he's just like, yo, Joe! They're like, Shipwreck, what happened? He's like, not a dang thing. It's crazy, like so dark for a kid's show that came out in the 80s. I was just blown away. Also, very interesting, there was a lot of multi-part episode arcs, which was just really surprising to me as a kid who grew up in the 80s and 90s. The only shows that I'd really seen as a kid that had multi-episode arcs was Spider-Man the Animated Series and X-Men the Animated Series. So I was very shocked to discover that about G.I. Joe. It's a really fun show. It's kind of campy, but it's great to put on while you're working if you're able to do that at your job, or it's great to just relax and watch when you get home, you put on a video game. It's not something that I would particularly enjoy doing by itself, but in the background or while I'm doing other things and I get to kind of watch it on the side, really fun. Highly recommend. Super interesting to check out. That was my experience with the animated G.I. Joe stuff. I've yet to watch the live action movies. In fact, I'd like to know, could someone let me know in the comments below if I need to go watch the live action films? Is that worth doing? I would love to know that. Speaking of live action films, I did find out there's a Snake Eyes movie coming out this year, and now I'm like over the moon hype about it. I cannot wait for that film. So let's talk about the video games. Throw to voiceover! Because let me say, I've not raged at a video game this hard in years. To the point where I literally felt like snapping my PlayStation 5 controller in half. This game started off as mediocre and just got worse and worse for me. I mean, to the point where I felt like it was actually kind of unplayable. I blind bought this game without reviewing it at all, which is not something I usually do. And when I did it, I committed to beating the game no matter what, which if you know me is super rare because I usually don't beat games. I'm too ADD and I just like get into other things or other games and so I don't finish them. But I was like, I'm beating this game. Spoiler alert, I beat the game, which actually was such a big feat. Not because the game itself should be hard, but it's because the controls are literally the worst I have ever experienced since like the Nintendo 64. So the thing that interested me about the game is there's 12 playable characters. I was like, this is great. A third-person shooter. I like third-person shooters. It looked like it was developed by a small development team, but I was okay with that as long as it was kind of fun. Wow. The game was so frustrating. I can't even tell you how annoying it was. Rage mode, like you can't actually even aim with the controller. You can't actually aim at what you want to shoot at. It's literally impossible. The way that the analog stick works and the aiming settings in the game are just really awful. So it wasn't even the story that was bad. It wasn't even the graphics. It's just mechanically the game feels unplayable. And it's so frustrating to be surrounded by enemies and to not be able to hit them. I'm not like the best gamer in the world, but I've played a gajillion first-person shooters. I played a ton of third-person shooters. This is by far the worst controls of any shooting game I have played since literally the Nintendo 64. That being said, the game itself, the design wasn't bad. The stories were kind of interesting. I liked the G.I. Joe mythos, and it was really cool to be able to play as characters like Snake Eyes and Storm Shadow and Cobra Commander. That was all really fun. And the mission layout of the game was very similar to GoldenEye in that it was like you go off to a mission, you play through a pretty straightforward level, and then you're done. You collect rewards, there's some unlockables, and you move on to the next mission. It didn't take me longer than maybe 8 to 10 hours to beat, but I gotta be honest, do not buy this game unless it is like $10 or less. Now that being said, it might be better on the PC where the aiming might be a little bit easier. I don't know, I didn't play it on the PC. My mistake. PC Master Race, right? My review of the game, overall, I'd say, on a good day, 5 out of 10. And that's for a G.I. Joe fan. Anybody else, they're gonna give it like a 3.5 out of 10. Rough stuff on the PlayStation.
Destro! Introducing Destro.
You better watch out, Joe. Hey, what's going on?
Finally, the thing that started it all, the action figures. These action figures are great, but man, let me tell you, I was not ready for the soul destruction of trying to get these Target exclusives.
You are not prepared.
I've talked about it before, but it was so rough most of the time. I did actually get a second Viper, which was amazing because of a super nice Target employee who I really connected with when I went there. It was really sad. He actually told me this story about how like all these people curse him out when they're going and looking for these toys, which is really sad to me because like we're all adults. There's no reason to treat another person that way, especially over toys and something that they can't control. He was super nice. He was like, man, you're the first person that's actually been nice to me when they've come and looked for these toys. So he actually got my number and texted me when one came in, which was great. So our store got one and I was able to go pick up a second one. I found the Vipers. I found the Fireflies. One day I went in and they had 2 on the shelf and I got them both and I thought, man, with how hard these figures are and that there's a pandemic going on and not everybody can or should get out, I thought, you know what, it might be really nice to be able to give one of these away. So that's kind of what I wanted to do. I want you, if you want one of these Fireflies, all you gotta do is drop a comment below and be subscribed to the channel. If you do that, it will enter you into a giveaway. I'll do a drawing and whoever wins, I'll message you. I'll let you know in the comments. And this Firefly can be yours. I send it to you for your charge. And I really just want to do that because the G.I. Joe community kind of had a bad rap for all the Target stuff. One of my friends told me that it was the most toxic toy community he'd ever been a part of. I gotta be real. I've actually found it the opposite. Like maybe in stores it's toxic, I don't know, but on the Facebook groups I've been in, people have actually been genuinely kind to me. I told them I was looking for these figures, this Baroness that I honestly thought I would never get. And someone gave me an amazing deal on Baroness and this Cobra Island Roadblock and this Amazon exclusive Storm Shadow. Just went out of their way to really hook me up and be nice. I can't believe I have this figure. Like, I'm so excited about it. I can't wait to open it up and take action figure photos because I love doing that. Because it's just really cool. The rest of the waves that are coming out in the future seem to be really readily available to pre-order online. So I pre-ordered all the stuff that I didn't have, which is really great. In fact, I think it's really interesting that Scarlet and Roadblock, wherever he is, Roadblock, are getting updated painted models from their original Wave 1 release. So I can't wait to pick those up because I really like the way those look. We're definitely gonna get more Snake Eyes. There's a Hasbro Pulse Snake Eyes exclusive that's a Fortnite crossover that I pre-ordered. And we're gonna have another wave, I'm sure, when the Snake Eyes movie comes out with the new Snake Eyes and other things. And it's been confirmed, well, I think confirmed, that we're gonna get another Baroness, just a solo release. For those of you who can't find her, don't fret, like you are gonna be able to get her, don't pay major scalper prices. On top of that, we've seen the Troopers show up at other online retailers, and so I wouldn't be surprised if we see even maybe these Vipers at some point show up somewhere else with a little bit different packaging, maybe a slightly different color scheme to make it available for you guys, because Hasbro, I really feel like they know that people are really unhappy about it, because that's constantly what people are messaging them in their Hasbro live shows. All that to say, this has become one of my favorite toy lines. I'm into a bunch of toys, and this has become one of my standouts. I can't wait to continue collecting this in 2021, and I can't wait to see what the line's gonna hold in the future. All that to say, guys, I am now a G.I. Joe fan. Like, that's mad crazy to me. I can't believe that. I never thought I would truly be a G.I. Joe fan, but here I am, in my 30s, loving G.I. Joe, and I can't wait for what's next. That's the video. Thanks a bunch for checking it out and hanging in there. Leave a like and a comment if you enjoyed the video. Comment to enter to win Firefly. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. And as always, we'll see you next time. This is Super Squad D, where the D stands for don't give up. You're gonna get a Baroness at some point. Don't give in to the scalper prices. Peace! Yippee! G.I. Joe! Real American hero!